Look at Alkermes run. Here's a drug company that's taking control of its own destiny, transformed itself for the better. The old Alkermes focused on drug delivery technology, creating longer-acting formulations of existing drugs, making it easier for people with chronic diseases like diabetes or schizophrenia to take their medication. Make no mistake, that is a solid business, and it produces a nice and steady stream of royalties, and we've loved that. But in recent years, Alkermes has begun to develop its own proprietary drugs, very different, for diseases of the central nervous system, CNS, like multiple sclerosis and all sorts of mental illnesses from depression to schizophrenia. And it turns out Alkermes' proprietary pipeline, it could be a gold mine. Just yesterday, we got some incredibly positive phase 1 results in the company's multiple sclerosis drug, which is what sent the stock soaring today. Plus, in the past 2 months, we've also gotten some extremely positive data for Alkermes' depression and schizophrenia treatments, both of which have the potential to be game-changing medications with blockbuster sales. I could just talk about the MS, but I got to hear about these others, too. No wonder the stock has rallied more than 30% since we last spoke to the CEO back on November 18th. And I think Alkermes has more room to run, maybe much more, especially since the company expects the FDA will decide this August whether or not to approve its long-acting version of Abilify, the blockbuster antipsychotic drug that went generic not long ago. Don't take it from me, okay? Let's check in with Richard Pops, the totally bankable chairman and CEO of Alkermes. What a winner this has been. To hear more about his company and where it is headed, Mr. Pops, welcome back to Mad Money. Good to see you, sir. Have a seat. All right, until I saw the news about the multiple sclerosis, I just thought that the depression drugs are huge. But let's do MS, because one of the reasons why I want to do it is because immediately after the note comes out about yours, the Biogen IDEC people say, Tecfidera, don't worry about it. Tecfidera is solid. This has a much better safety profile than the established $2.9 billion drug out there.
Well, we'll see. But first of all, I got to say happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
That's most important today.
I see Richard outside, but there's causes that Richard's involved in that I'm involved in are the same. So there's a mutuality beyond the stock. I admit to saying.
As it relates to this multiple sclerosis drug, Biogen IDEC's drug is a fantastic drug. It's just a wonderful drug, and it's helping a lot of patients. It does have some liabilities in terms of its side effects. And so our goal was to make a drug that was even better tolerated for people taking this drug for long periods of GI in particular. So we made a new molecule, and the data look very encouraging. It's early, so Biogen's going to continue to be the king of the hill for a long time, but we're coming fast.
Now, I spoke to my doctor about this because I thought it was so exciting, and he said, well, look, you can do a sample for a phase 1, but it may turn out that if you did 10x that, there's going to be people who have problems. I mean, that phase 1's too early to really be as excited as I am about it. What gives you that confidence in phase 1 that this could be a better side effect profile?
This is one of the things that I think Alkermes does so well. It's because we've gotten a little bit bigger and we have the financial resources that you mentioned from the cash flows of the other products.
Right.
We can actually run big phase 1 studies. And you saw that with our schizophrenia drug and our depression drug. Instead of running 15 or 20 patients, we'll run 100 or 200 patients and try to get a more complete picture of the drug before we advance into later stage studies.
Well, that's important because I think people feel that all phase 1s are created equal. That's obviously not the case.
Obviously, that's exactly right.
Okay, let's talk about these breakthroughs. You're talking about, again, this is something that he and I have talked about off camera, but the possibility of an anti-schizophrenia drug with no associated weight gain, which is, not possible. It's not possible what you're talking about. That's what the top people have told me. It just doesn't exist. You're doing it.
Well, I don't know if we'll say no weight gain ever.
Okay, but everyone accepts the weight gain if you take these drugs.
Well, the thing is that the most effective of the antipsychotic drugs is olanzapine. There was Eli Lilly's drug, Zyprexa. Right. And it's associated with a tremendous amount of weight gain. And this has been...
And also difficult to get off of if you decide to get off.
That's right.
Yeah.
So here, there's been a long-standing goal in the neuroscience community to make a drug that had the efficacy of olanzapine without the associated weight gain. And the data we revealed just right after the first of the year from a large study, 300-patient study, showed that we had the efficacy of olanzapine without the associated weight gain. And so it was big news.
Big news, especially because I have felt that olanzapine, that they didn't fully disclose that it could give you that weight gain when they first marketed the drug.
When the drug first came to market, I think you're right. People weren't aware of weight gain, but it was used so extensively because of its efficacy, very clearly, immediately became more
So
clear.
You're telling me this drug could have the same or better than Zyprexa without the weight gain? You're saying that is possible?
We believe it's possible.
And that was a $5 billion drug that we're talking about.
That's right. That's right. And the reason it's a $5 billion drug, it just underscores the fact that so many people are suffering from this disease, and we still need to make better medicine.
But everyone else has given up.
Well, a lot of large pharma has moved away from this field, you're right. And we've been persevering, and we've been making a lot of headway, both in schizophrenia and in depression.
Well, I have to tell you, if it was just schizophrenia and depression, I think the stock would be dramatically higher. But if this can be as good as it is versus Tecfidera, then Alkermes should be valued like those other companies. I just got to say it. It's my view.
You're the expert of that. We know that if we make the medicines, you all will figure out what our company's worth. But we've been so successful in the laboratories and in the clinic, we couldn't be more excited about where we are at Alkermes.
Well, I couldn't be more excited about Alkermes. I couldn't believe that this is you had a single and a double and a triple, and they add them together, you just have the winning ballgame. Richard, this is amazing things that you're doing.
Well,
and you know that I know that, okay?
We're working
Thank you
hard.
very much. That's Richard Pops. He's the chairman and CEO of Alkermes. This is not done going higher. We have money's back after the break.